This is America. But will it still be if the radical left controls the Senate? Raphael Warnock called police thugs and gangsters, hosted a rally for communist dictator Fidel Castro, and praised Marxism in speeches and writings. Raphael Warnock will give the radicals total control. Saving the Senate is about saving America from that.
I'm Kelly Loeffler. I approve.
Don't let anyone ever tell you that this country isn't great, that somehow we need to make it great again, because this right now is the greatest country on earth.
This is your president. In the past 10 years, I have fooled all of you into believing the socialist ideology of everyone is equal. How? By making everyone believe the lie and having destroyed our nation's sovereignty. Through communism, we will all be a unified global government of acceptance by making everyone have the same thing. You won't be an American, you won't be a citizen anymore. You will be the same as your dog, your neighbors in Mexico. If all have nothing, then all will be equal. That is the purpose of socialism. You are nothing unless the government tells you who or what you are. Don't pretend you don't know what I've been doing. I brainwashed you through high-definition television. You are truly the walking dead. If I told you to give up your freedoms, you would. But it's already happened, so I don't need to keep convincing you. You all are vegetables now anyway. Oh, by the way, if you can't see that I'm the Antichrist, then there's no reason anymore to tell you what must be done next, because you'll be hunted down with the Christians and exterminated for not believing me, not accepting who I am. I'm your Messiah, your Imam Mahdi. April 23rd, 2018, I told the world, but it wasn't time yet to bring out who I am. So the conspiracy must continue against Trump until that is accomplished. The rapture must happen first. Remember always that I made narcotics legal. I made every kind accessible. I made this addicted nation a reality through suicide, overdoses, you name it. I did that. Ever wonder how I control everything you see and hear? I own the media. I have since I took over in 2009. I laugh when I see Republicans standing next to each other without a word. They can't. I control what they see, what they hear. Want truth, facts? Forget it. I am your whole world now. If life means anything today, it won't under the global system I've initiated since I became president in 2009. My legions accept whatever I tell them to do. You will too, or you'll be hunted down with the rest and exterminated. It's as simple as that. Accept and obey, or resist and die. I am your hope for tomorrow. I am your president. There is only one outcome: world domination. Either you'll accept me or be taken out. It's time to take a stand for one or the other. Me or freedom and liberty. Remember Adolf Hitler, freedom is a lie. Enslavement is acceptance.
Where are you, Ken? Down. The other tower just went down.
Power's down. Second tower's down.
Got another tower that went down, Ken? The other tower's down. The other tower's down! From it! The other tower's down! Get away from it! Get away from it! The house is down!
And we will decriminalize marijuana, and we will expunge the records of those who have been convicted of marijuana. This is the time for leadership on a tragic issue
Senator Harris,
of unarmed black people in America who have been killed.
Senator Harris.
I am Patrick McGugan, John Drake, but you also know me as number 6. Who was I really? I represented you, the private citizen. It was symbolism of the socialist world order we see today. You didn't get it, did you? Now we all are facing this reality. that all are controlled by the New World Order.
We should never allow the government to decide what is acceptable speech and what is unacceptable speech. We should penalize behaviors, not opinions, and not speech. If you start trying to regulate speech, you start trying to regulate thoughts, start trying to regulate beliefs rather than behaviors, there's no way that you're not going to abridge the constitutional rights of millions of Americans.
Oh! Hi-ho! Kermit the Frog here, with a very special message for my good friend, Omran Daknish. That's right. Hey, buddy, how are you doing? I love sending special messages like this to people all over the world, but especially to great little boys like you, Omran, all the way over in Aleppo. I'm thinking about you today and every day. You are a special little boy. And of course, I'd love to give a big shout out to your sisters Roa and Taki and your brother Abdullah. Omran, always be safe in Aleppo with your family. We love you. The whole world loves you. Yay! Omran, keep being the sweet little boy you are. You'll always be close in my heart. From your friend, Kermit the Frog. I love you, Omran.
أهلا، أنا عمران دقنيش. لقد رأيتني في سيارة الإسعاف في حلب. عندما أطاحت الطيارات الجوية بمنزل عائلتي. أنا بأمان الآن. أردت أن أجيب على تساؤل شخص ما حول مشاعري عن نفسي وعن عائلتي عن طريق قول أنا بخير وأنا أحبك أيضا يا ديفيد.
explains why interest in Canadian citizenship is on the rise.
We met Michael Lavender outside his DeKalb County storage unit in October. After 23 years in Atlanta, this was about a month after selling his home and weeks before he made a permanent move to Canada.
It's pretty much the same crowd. It's just a little more.
Lavender brought Americans west as the start of their consideration to move in with our neighbors to the north. Google searches for moving to Canada and landing citizenship spiked after the 90-minute discourse.
You're the worst president America has ever had.
There's nothing smart about you, Joe.
In over a 3-month period this summer as compared to last year, this international living website reported a 945% increase in page traffic for its guide on moving from the U.S. Barbados offering special visa applications for foreigners to work remotely during the pandemic. And in the wake of George Floyd's death, Ghana expanded on its Year of the Return campaign, speaking to social justice, welcoming African Americans to, quote, return home. According to the IRS, 5,816 Americans gave up their citizenship or U.S. residency in the first 6 months of 2020. That's compared to 2,072 in all of 2019.
I've been practicing for 25 years, and I have never seen this kind of response by Americans of seeking an interest to come to Canada. It is highly unusual.
Toronto-based immigration attorney Heather Siegel says her office began receiving an influx of calls in the months leading up to the election, but is still fielding 3 to 4 calls a day post-election from Americans seeking info on immigrating to Canada. At this point, roughly 40 clients have actually gone through with their plans to permanently relocate to Canada since August.
What is kind of the first thing coming out of people's mouths?
So initially, there was a tremendous amount of fear from people saying, I don't know what's happening to this country. I'm concerned about the future. Some people were anti-Trump and wanted to escape Trump.
Siegel says those calls are coming from U.S. citizens across all walks of life, and some are coming from people looking to reconnect through their own family trees.
An interesting group of people that I've been getting calls from are people who have lived in the United States their whole lives, but one of their parents were Canadian, and suddenly they're saying, hey, can I come to Canada? I think I'm a citizen.
Lavender falls into that category.
I have the benefit of having family in Canada, and I am presently a Canadian citizen. But if you're an American without any connections, you've got some hills to go through.
For those looking to move to Canada without family ties, Siegel says the first step is becoming a permanent resident, which takes about a year. After 4 years as a permanent resident, you can become a citizen. As for a cultural shift, Siegel says she was much more accustomed to helping Canadians move south prior to the pandemic and elections.
You start off the conversation with, COVID is crazy, and then it goes to, and what's going on in the States? And they want to come here. So it's all mixed up, but there's an evolution happening.
Nicole Carr, Channel 2 Action News.
The video y'all saw just a few minutes ago from Channel 2 had to do with an increase in the number of people fleeing the United States into Canada. And I saw the story yesterday. They were talking about this being aired on their station, and I feel like I ought to bring up a couple of things about what you saw in the story. First of all, because the media is biased towards giving Biden every help and every credit, they're not going to tell you that the Communist Party, and that's the Socialists, their agenda in the New World Order is first to give the illusion that things are going to be better under their communist viewpoint, under their socialist system. And then as soon as they take over, which they're doing right now, the first thing they're going to do, folks, is they're going to close the borders. That's from Mexico into America, and that's from Canada into America. Canada is really the only other part of North America where there is some sense of democracy, even though they have a gay prime minister whose whole philosophy has been the same exact thing that Putin adheres to, what Pyongyang, Kim Jong-un, he stands by the same philosophies. This is all part of the New World Order. Now, Canada is a much more laid-back philosophy country because you could see some indirect ties to how Southern living is. If you look at how in the last 50 years, there are these people called snowbirds. These are the people that came down into the southeastern United States from Canada during the wintertime because it was a lot warmer here compared to Canada, like in Ontario and Quebec. And I saw a lot of these people in Florida when I lived down there. And they have a mentality very much like in the South, laid back, very mellow. And the reason why Canadians, really you don't see them anymore in this part of the country or anywhere in America is because they know already this country has become communist, it's become socialistic. So what is happening is that people in America are seeing Biden's viewpoints, his hatred against Christianity, his hatred against the South. This is why blacks have been given all the power to destroy Confederate monuments, to destroy the South's culture. Well, people are starting to realize we're going to get out of this country before they close the borders off, because when they do, we're not going to be able to go to Canada. It's kind of reminiscent of the 60s. If you remember, during the Vietnam War, there were what was called draft dodgers. These were people who did not want to serve in the military, so they fled into Canada so they couldn't be drafted. Well, this scenario of people leaving from the United States to Canada is more or less that same philosophy. They don't want to be in this country when the communists totally take over. And that's why with President Trump, he's fighting to try to show the American public that the election was a fraud. It was a farce because they had manipulated the ballots, not so much from the numbers of those who voted, but the fact the machines changed the votes. They manipulated the results. And this is what was just said today by Rush Limbaugh brought up the fact that Giuliani has been saying these machines that were bought in Brazil, they were bought for the reason why the election was altered, because they changed the numbers, if not the names of the ballots, of the names that were on the tallies. If it said Trump, it switched it to Biden. And that's why the communists and the socialists are just laughing. Javita Moore, I gotta bring her name in this. She's that black anchor on Channel 2. I emailed her last week. I said, you know what? You give you guys away the philosophy that you think communism's so great, Obama was great, Biden's great, because you're smirking the whole time you're doing the reports. It's like they're saying to the American public, if not to the Georgia viewers, we got this whole thing down. Yeah, we manipulated it, but we won. And Jovita Moore, I emailed her and I told her, you are the joke, because you think that America is stupid enough not to rise up and to fight for their freedoms, to fight for their rights as American citizens. And she and that Jorge Gonzalez or Estevez guy, they smirk every day. They're sitting there talking about how Trump lost the election, Trump's an idiot, Trump's this, Trump's that. And now you see them kind of like, they're just so arrogant, so adamant that communism is now going to take over this country and it's going to subjugate this nation to their philosophies about things are going to be better because now they're going to control everything. And the first thing they take away from you is your ability even to vote. There will be no more elections after this. Communists take over this country, that's the first thing they'll eliminate is the Electoral College. When they take the Electoral College away, the next thing they take is the First Amendment. And they're already talking about that because Biden has said, we're going to phase out and get rid of all the amendments. We're going to eliminate the Constitution. But the first thing they do is when they take away the First Amendment, that is your right to free speech. They're going to take my channel down. They're going to take everyone's channel off of YouTube who speak out against the communists. The First Amendment, folks, doesn't just include your constitutional legal right to speak out and to voice your opinion. It is also your right to worship. Now, they're not going to eliminate all worship in this country. They're going to allow Muslims and Buddhists and Hindus and every other religion to exist and to do whatever they want, to worship the way they want. The only ones they're going to outlaw are Christians. And when Hillary Clinton ran for office in 2016, she was on television, she was on the radio, and she was saying this one phrase over and over: we must abandon religion. Hillary Clinton kept saying that. Kamala Harris, as vice president, when she becomes president, she's going to totally destroy the Constitution. If it isn't Biden himself, it's going to be Kamala Harris. When she becomes president, guess who becomes vice president? That 90-year-old Botox witch, Nancy Pelosi, will become vice president. Do you think that's a laughable joke? She was saying that earlier this year. First she said, oh, well, Trump's not mentally there. We got to get rid of him. We'll use this 25th Amendment to get rid of him. That was a farce in itself, because she was saying when the communists get into power, we're going to let Biden be a figurehead for so long, and then we're going to eliminate him. Then Kamala Harris will become the first black woman president. And they'll make Nancy Pelosi the vice president. And then the communists are going to eradicate this whole country's constitution and our freedoms and everything else. They're going to get rid of everybody. They're going to get rid of everybody's freedoms, everybody's rights. When that happens, then this country is now enslaved. They will begin hunting people down. Nightmare is this reality that the communists will make every state of the union a sanctuary. That means a guy can go out at will with a gun, and they'll allow them to have guns, because there'll still be a black market, even if they say, well, we're not going to let you have a gun anymore. And then they'll just start shooting people. Left and right, anywhere and everywhere, they'll start shooting people. That's the nightmare of America today, because whether or not most of us voted for President Trump, the communists have proven we control the country itself, and the whole government system is now and always has been in the grasp of our hand, and they're doing it right now by destroying our freedoms. They're destroying this country and any chance we might have had in the future to take back our country. The only thing left in this country that still has a fighting chance, in my book, is a coup. A coup is what has happened throughout world history. Countries who see what a dictator is and what a socialist is, and that's Barack Obama, that's Hillary Clinton, that's Joe Biden, that is definitely Kamala Harris, they have risen up as people, and they have retaliated, and they have lashed out, and they fought against the government to gain back those freedoms. The French did it during the French Revolution. They took over the government, and what did they do? They executed all their highest-ranking people, their king, their queen, Marie Antoinette. All these people were executed. Guess how they did it? They used a guillotine. They cut their heads off. They didn't execute them with a noose. They didn't hang them. They didn't shoot them. They chopped off their heads. If you don't think we're beyond that, ladies and gentlemen, the Bible says that Christians would be decapitated for their religious beliefs. And the communists are going to do that. The communists are going to say, we're not just going to punish you for believing that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. We're going to execute you in the horriblest way possible. Because they're going to say, you don't have the right anymore to believe what you want to believe. You're not going to be allowed to believe what you want to believe. Because it's now up to us to decide what happens to you, what happens to this country. I don't even want to fathom what is going to be in the next 2 years, let alone the next year. We don't stand with President Trump, if we don't fight with him against the communist rhetoric, against the socialists. The ads in the last 3 months have shown over and over again what the communists believe in, what they accept, what they will do to this country, and people still are blind enough to look the other way. You deserve what you get. If you saw Raphael Warnock sitting there advocating for Reverend Wright, who is sitting there saying, not God bless America, but God condemn America? I'm not going to say what he said, but you've seen those ads. Man, if you don't see what the communist rhetoric is, if you don't see what John Sawdoff is saying in his ads, that he's going to make Georgia a sanctuary so that these thugs can go around town and blow your head off, then it's your fault. And I tell you, I don't feel pity for anybody who voted for Biden. Because when this whole thing blows up in your face, you're going to be moaning and crying and all the rest of it. You got your own self to blame for it. Nobody else did it but you. And we're all going to suffer the results of those groups of people in this state who said, we are Democrats, we came here from the North, we're going to destroy this country, but we're going to destroy the South first. Those idiots that voted for Biden, I tell you, you can play, you can dance in the streets, just like they did on 9/11. But ladies and gentlemen, 9/11 was a wake-up call, and it showed America when 3,000 innocent lives were lost in New York and in the Pentagon. And now, 20-something years later, people have totally forgotten 9/11. They don't even remember it even happened anymore. And now the communists are showing us we're the terrorists. There are no terrorists anymore. There never were terrorists. The communists orchestrated 9/11 to prove to us the communists are the ones who have taken over this country. We're the ones that attacked the decency, the morale, the traditions, the values of this country and what it was founded on. They said, we're going to destroy all that. And so 3,000 innocent lives had to be taken and snuffed out because of it. Don't believe that? Nobody remembers 9/11 anymore. Nobody remembers why the communists do the things they do today, the socialists do what they do, and they get away with it. Because people don't care. People don't want to care anymore. They want to live in their own bubble. They want to believe that things are going to get better because of communism, because of socialism. This is their end game. It's happening right now. They're going to destroy this country because there's no one left. President Trump was the last hope our country had, and now that y'all taken him out of office, there's nobody else left to help our country anymore. Only God himself can help bring this nation out of this mess. Because you will never have the right again to vote for whoever you want to. There will never be another election. You have just signed America's death warrant because you said we don't need to have anybody but a communist and a dictator like Barack Obama controlling us. And all of his legions, right to this day, folks, are still bowing and kissing Obama's butt. They're kissing his feet. They're on their hands and their knees, just like all Muslims bow to Allah. They bow to Muhammad. You know what? We saw that during the protests here in Atlanta. They had groups of Muslims on the city streets bowing to Muhammad, to Allah, on the streets, adamantly showing the American people, we've taken over this country because the socialists are helping us to take over this country. The communists have taken over this country because they're letting the homosexuals have their way, they're letting the blacks have their way, they're letting the Muslims destroy everything about what is America's Christian values and its foundations as a nation. And the communists are saying, we don't need any of that stuff anymore. We're not going to let you be that person anymore. I'm going to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. You are your own leader. You are an American, and that means your rights are in your own hands. You can still make a difference. They cannot, as yet, take away the Constitution because it's still there. And you can stand up to idiots like Warlock. You can stand up to idiots like John Sawdoff Runt. You can stand up to Charles Schumer, who is a homosexual. You can stand up to Nancy Pelosi, who is a senile fart of a woman who uses Botox every day. You can stand up to Joe Biden, who is a 90-year-old fart who doesn't grasp anything about what's going on. Why? Because he's a figurehead. He is in Washington for one reason. They wanted to get Kamala Harris in there so that then once they think, we got it all, we got a black woman president now, we got a You got a senile fart of a hag like Nancy Pelosi, who's vice president. Is he just going to say, like Nancy did during President Trump's last State of the Union address, what did she do with his speech? She shredded it right on television. You know what she was saying? That's the Constitution. Even Michael Pence said that. He said, I couldn't believe she tore up his speech. He said, I thought she was tearing up the Constitution. She was tearing up the Constitution. She was saying that. We get in office as the next communist rhetoric, the regime that Barack Obama started. We're going to tear down the Constitution. We're going to tear down this country. We're going to tear down the Bill of Rights. Everything's going to be shredded. And then when it's over with, folks, your life and your family and everything about what and who you are, they're going to just make a mockery. They're going to joke about it. They're going to do just like they did President Trump day after day for 4 years. They laughed at him. They put him down. They condemned him. They made fun of him. They're going to do it to you because that's what they really were doing. When they were attacking President Trump, they weren't looking at him. They were saying it to you and to me as American citizens. We're making a laughing stock of you as an American citizen. And now we're going to take down this country and you're going with it. You're going with it. There's not going to be anybody left to speak out for America or for the freedoms of this country because now the Communist Party are saying, we got it. It's in our hands. We've taken it over. And you got nothing more you can say, nothing more you can do about it because it's over. That's America, ladies and gentlemen. The next 4 years, what's left of America's posterity, there will be no posterity to remember anything. Because the communists themselves are going to take everything away, and then all of us are going to be enslaved for the rest of our lives to pay out taxes to help give immigrants every free benefit that you and I paid into all of our lives. They're going to give it to them. They're going to give it to the Muslims. They're going to give it to everybody else at our expense. As American citizens, we're going to pay for everything at their expense and they're going to give you and me nothing. No Social Security, no Medicare, nothing. They're going to say, you're going to pay into it because that's your function in this country now. But as far as any benefits you're entitled to, you get zero. Nothing. You get nothing. And the only thing they're going to tell you probably is what they were saying in the 90s. Government-assisted suicide. They're going to say, kind of like in Soylent Green, it's time to go home. You know, you served your purpose. It's time to take cyanide and let the government kill you. That's what they were doing in Soylent Green. Go back and watch that movie and see what I'm talking about. Saul Ross said, fed up with this whole thing, I can't go on. And he says, where am I going to find any answers? And he said, home. So he went to the local government-assisted suicide station and he killed himself. He had them to take, he let them give him poison so he could kill himself. Folks, that's America. That's what happens when you don't care.
Volkswagen Service. Damit Ihr Volkswagen ein Volkswagen bleibt.
معمران دقنيش
قديش عمرك؟
4 سنين.
Hi, I'm George Lucas. In my past 40 years of motion picture making, no subject has so inspired me as this story that happened in August 2016. The world saw a 3-year-old boy on global networks, and it really touched my heart. So much so that I had to tell his story. His name is Omran Daknish. His story is real. It happened. I'm telling this story because millions of other children just like Omran are still being hurt in war-torn countries resulting from neglect, illness, and uncaring masses. We must remember them all. You won't be leaving the movie theater without a tear in your eyes. I hope you'll come.
مع البابا.
ضرب. أنا كنت في قلب البيت وجتني الضربة. إيش مصدرها؟ إيش منين؟ إيش ما عرفت. شغلة تاني، أنا طلبت من الإعلاميين اللي كانوا موجودين هنيك والمسلحين يطالعوا آثار البقايا، مثلا الصاروخ أو الضربة اللي عم يدعوها أي شيء، يطالعوا البقايا مشان أعرف إيش بدي أحكي معهم، على أساسها نصرح. ورفضوا يطالعوا أي شيء. بالنسبة يعني القبعات البيضاء عم يشتغلوا هن مع الصحافة بدرجة الأولى، وشغلة مهنية عم يستخدموها. منهم بعض منهم بيشتغلوا يعني كعمل إنساني، وبعض منهم كمهني، لأن اليوم الصورة وقت اللي عم بصورها في عليها ثمن. اللقطة اللي بتشتغل بالعاطفة على العاطفة هي لها ثمن. في منهم عم بيشتغلوا مع بعض بهالأمر بين الصحافة وقبعات البيض.
تفضل على الكاميرا عمو.
أعطيها لعبودي.
أعطيها فوتك أنت.
زيتوا لبعض، زيتوا لبعض. نحن بالنسبة وقت اللي أخذوا عمران مشان يسعفوه، قبل ما يسعفوه حطوه عم بصوروه. هالصورة ليش؟ هالصورة هي عبارة مشان يتاجروا في دمه، أنه اللي هو اتصوب وهو انضرب وإصابته ثقيلة والحمد لله إصابته هو خفيفة. يعني هالتجارة بهالأمر وبدون ما ياخذوا إذني وبدون ما يقولوا لي وبدون ما يكون لي أي خبر. عمران أنا ما جبرت حدا لا يصوره ولا جبرت حدا طلبت منه أي شيء بالنسبة لعمران، لا إعلام ولا إشهار ولا أي شيء. صوروه خارج إرادتي. بالإضافة أنا جبته على البيت مشان ما يرجع حدا يصوره وحدا يرجع يتاجر بدمه بهالأمر. حلقت له شعره وغيرت له حتى اسمه ومنعته مثل الخروج على الشارع. جينا لهون وباركنا والحمد لله ما في أي شيء ولا في أي إزعاج. بعدين صار يرجع يطلع على الإعلام يحكوا هذا اللي صوره وهذا اللي صار يرجع ويحكوا عليه وكأنه هو إلن. هذا ابني وأنا بدي بس أنه يحلوا عنه. ما يعني لا هو لا فرضنا حالنا عليهم ولا طلبنا منهم شيء. وفوق منها هلا بعثوا لي تهديدات مردودة عليهم، لأنه أنا ما عم بعمل شيء غلط. أنا ما عم بتآمر على البلد، ما عم بقبض دولار مشان أضر بلدي. أنا إنسان مواطن، سعري بسعر أي مواطن، وهذا الطفل بسعر أي طفل. وعم بيستثمروا هو بهالأمر وطالعوني أنا خاين. هذا كلام إيش بيحكوه مردود عليهم. لأسكات كل شيء كان عم يحكي وبلفق حكي على عمران. عمران الحمد لله عايش بخير وموفر له كل شيء وما بحاجة حدا لحدا يعني يبرك يحكي على عمران ووضع عمران وإيش كان عمران وشلون تصوب عمران ومين اللي صوب عمران. أنا بالنسبة بدي أطلع لهالمناطق وهنيك ضمن الحصار، أنا فيني كان أغامر في حالي بس عائلتي ما فيني أحطها بالمغامرة. يعني في أطفال صغار في أمهم، يعني ما فيني أحطهم بالمغامرة. وبجوز نخرج بجوز ما نخرج، بجوز يرشونا، يعني في كثير أمور. فلذلك تمينا قاعدين لوقت ما صار مجال طلعنا.